Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mary Colway, and I'm the mayor of the Village of Lynbrook. Our village is about to undertake a new garbage collection and recycling program. Our purpose here today is to begin explaining the changes which will be occurring in the near future. And with me is Larry Bean, Labor Supervisor at the Department of Public Works. Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Okay. I suppose the first question that I would ask as a resident is, why are we trying to fix something that really isn't broken? Well, our system isn't broken, but there have been some changes in recent times which have made it in our village's best interest to modernize our collection programs. Well, what are those changes? The first change is the closing of the Oceanside landfill and dump. In early 1990, the town of Hempstead closed its landfill to the Village of Lynbrook's garbage pretty much completely. At that point, the village was forced to truck all of its garbage to American Refuel. American Refuel is located in Garden City, actually at the east end of Garden City on the Uniondale border. And in Garden City, at American Refuel, our garbage is incinerated, and it is turned into electric energy, which is sold back to Lilco. Well, this extra mileage made through the trip to the American Refuel plant has made the process longer and has created more wear and tear on our garbage trucks. Well, to solve this problem, our village has entered into an agreement with the Village of Rockville Centre to create a transfer station. What this means to us is that we now truck our garbage only to Rockville Centre. As a matter of fact, we bring it to a Rockville Centre facility right over the village border, the Lynbrook village border. At this transfer station, our garbage is located or accumulated on a larger tractor trailer, which is, when full, driven over to the American Refuel fuel facility by Rockville Centre personnel. In order to better use the freed up manpower created by the shorter garbage transportation distance and to work within Rockville Centre's schedule, we have changed our garbage collection schedule from 6 days to 4 days per week. Well, the next question is, what are we doing with the extra time? We are using the extra man hours, to expand our recycling program to include plastics recycling. As part of our recycling program, we have purchased a new recycling truck, which I'm sure that many of you have seen around the village. This truck permits us to comply with the town of Hempstead mandated source separations. I think at this point we should start talking about the specifics of our new collection program. Larry, would you please describe the new sanitation and recycling routes and the various pickup days for the different areas of the village?
Sure. Okay, with me I have a map of the village. And basically what we've done is we've divided the village in half. And as the mayor pointed out, we'll be going to a 4-day-week pickup on the residential. Residents living south of Merrick Road would be picked up on a Monday and a Thursday schedule. And residents on the north side of Merrick Road would be picked up on a Tuesday and Friday schedule. We've also divided the village up into quadrants for the purpose of recycling. Residents living in the, I guess it would be the southwest quadrant, which would be south of Merrick Road and west of Broadway, they would be picked up on Mondays. Residents in the northeast quadrant, that would be east of Hempstead Avenue and north of Merrick Road, they'd be picked up on Tuesdays. Thursday people would be south of Merrick Road and east of Broadway. And on Friday, the residents in the northwest quadrant, which would be north of Merrick Road and west of Hempstead Avenue, would be picked up.
Larry, when will this new schedule go into effect?
We anticipate by the end of October we should have the routes all in line and ready to go. Presently we're getting the flyers printed up, and the residents will all be notified before this goes into effect.
And the flyer will have all this information that you're giving us, because it's an awful lot to remember.
Right. This flyer should be everything you ever wanted to know about sanitation and recycling. Everything will be covered in this flyer that we're sending out.
Okay, thanks. How will the commercial properties be affected by the new sanitation and recycling schedule?
They will also fall into the same scheduling as the residential areas. If the north and south bit, if you're north, and that's the way they'll fall in.
So they will also be rescheduled.
Right.
Okay. Excuse me. Larry, let's move on to the changes in the recycling procedures. I understand that we're going to be receiving new containers. Are we still going to use the old blue ones?
Yes, what we're going to be using the old blue ones for is strictly clear glass.
Could you give us, what exactly is clear glass?
Okay, basically it's glass that's has no color to it. I got a couple of samples here today just to give the residents an idea. It's basically, you know, your Snapple bottles, your mayonnaise, most of your spaghetti sauces, a lot of your salad dressings. The larger ones here, okay, are your a lot of your fruit juices, apple juice and whatnot coming here. And then you also have some of your liquor bottles are also clear glass.
Okay. Are we going to be asking the residents to separate out these clear glass and put them in the blue container? Is that what you had in mind?
Yes.
Okay. Will the blue containers go out the same day as the other the new container?
Right. The blue container and the green container will go out on the same day.
Okay. Do we have to remove the labels from the containers at the present time?
At this time, it's not required.
Okay. What about now? You mentioned the green container. Can you tell us what will be going in the green container?
Okay, the green container is going to contain your colored glasses, your plastics, cans, you know, tin cans, aluminum cans, basically anything that you've been putting out in your blue pail, you know, over the last couple of years. But now it's going to include the plastics also.
When you talk about colored glass, is that glass that you can see through? But explain to me what exactly that is.
Basically, colored glass is anything that's not clear.
Can you see through it though? It just has color, isn't that?
No, there's some that are borderline. Most of your imported beers, you know, you have your browns and your green glass. Your wine bottles, most of them are colored. Some of your juices, your apple juice, a couple of brands use the brown glass.
And that's a very, very light color. That would be considered a colored.
Right. This is tricky. It's a lot of the light wines coming in. It's a very pale green bottle, but this is considered a colored glass, and that would go in your green container.
Okay. On these bottled, the glass bottles, do you suggest? Can we leave the caps on, or what do you suggest?
No, all the caps should come off, both plastics and glass, and rinse them out. That's important to clean them out.
Okay. Since you mentioned plastics, we are going into plastics recycling. What plastics? Let me just back up. I'm sorry. At the most recent board meeting, a resident asked about broken window glass. She broke a window. Can she put it in? It's clear glass. Can she put it into that container?
Right. No. The only thing they'll accept in here is bottles. They don't want, you know, windows from your home. They don't want mirrors or anything like that. You know, ceramics, and just clear bottles that contain the beverage at one time.
Okay, that's good information. Now I guess we're ready to move on to plastics.
Right.
Which plastics will be able to be recycled?
Presently, we're going to be recycling plastics that are labeled 1 or 2 on a container.
Is that on the paper label? What do you mean by labeled?
Basically, on all the containers, on the bottom you will see a label. It has the recycling triangle, and it'll have the number in the middle. Like this bleach container here, it's the number 2. And you'll see that in the middle there. And also, you know, your milk containers, your bottled water, any plastic that you look at the bottom, and there'll be a number on there, whether it's 1, 2. They have 6s.
Now this is a soda bottle, which I presume someone could return to the store for a refund of their deposit. Can they also recycle this?
Oh yeah, we pick up a lot of recyclables that could be returned to the store, but people just put them in a recycling container for some reason. One thing on these plastic bottles, for some reason, the number on these are very hard to see, but these are a number 1. It's very small in there, just in case somebody has a problem with their eyesight.
Okay, what types of plastics are not recyclable?
Okay, you're also going to run across a couple of plastics. For instance, like the sour cream container. If you look on the bottom, that's a number 6. That's not acceptable. Also on this margarine container, that's a number 2, but the recycling center does not accept any containers where their definition is if the opening is the same size as the body of the container. What they want is any container that has a neck on it, such as the soda bottle. Basically what it is there's different resins used in these wide-mouth containers, and it's affected by the flow when they're melting them down, and that's why they don't want to use anything like this. We also...
How do people get rid of these wide-necked containers? What do they do with them?
Okay, those would just go into regular sanitation.
Okay.
Also, there's a lot of these cups are popular from the fast foods. They also have a number 2. I just happened to go home for lunch today, and my daughter was showing me. She turned it upside down to show me. Unfortunately, it was still full. But those also would go in the garbage if you're not collecting them.
So, Larry, what you're saying basically is it's anything with a 1 or 2 on it that has a narrow opening at the top. Is that correct?
What they consider is a neck on the container.
Are you going to be are we planning to distribute these to the residents?
Right. These should be out by the end of the month also.
That's these are the new green recycling bins.
The new ones that are coming out. It's as you can tell, it's a rectangular type container that most municipalities are currently using. It's 18 gallons and empty. It weighs just about 5 pounds. The reason why we went to the larger type container over here was that we figure with the plastics take up a lot of room, and to go to a smaller container, it's just not feasible. So that's why we went to the larger one.
Okay, Larry, thank you very much. At this time, we'll take a few minutes break. Thank you.
Sure.
Welcome back. Larry, will the village be continuing to recycle newspapers?
Yes, we'll be picking up newspapers the way we have been over the last few years, taking a whole newspaper.
Okay, what will be your scheduling on that?
Newspapers for the entire village will be picked up on Wednesdays.
Every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
Okay. What about bulk pickup, and what are the procedures for that?
Okay, bulk pickup we're also changing. Basically what we're doing is we're going to a 4-day pickup on that.
Excuse me, Larry, what do we have now?
Presently, we pick up on Wednesday, but with the amount of stops we're getting right now anywhere from 300 to 400 stops a week, and we're hoping we finish on Friday. So what we're going to do now is we're going to a 4-day pickup. We're going to have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday and Tuesday are going to be burnable days. And we're going to try and put a limit that's manageable, that when we tell the residents we can pick up on Monday, that their stop will be picked up on Monday. And it'll be the same thing for Thursday and Friday with the metal stops, that when you call up, we'll give you a date, and when we tell you that date, it should be picked up on that day.
That's great. What exactly do you mean by burnables?
Burnables are anything that's bedding, furniture, carpeting, tires, anything that's not metal.
Okay, and what would, say, appliances? Is that what you mean by metals?
Right. Appliances, radiators, tires, rims, car parts, they would all fall into that metal category.
Okay. Is there any requirement for the residents? Do you have the phone number handy for the bulk pickup call?
Right. You could call the office between 8 and 4, and the phone number is 599-8838. And like I said before, when you call up, we'll give you a date to put it out.
That's Monday through Friday? Friday, the phone's
right.
Open?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Larry, sometimes we have, I know that the Environmental Concerns Committee recently did a program, and Harold Berger, formerly with the DEC in New York State, came down and talked to us about getting rid of hazardous wastes, pesticides, the oil-based paints that we probably used more in the past, but still sometimes they are used. He even mentioned things like nail polish as being a material that you might not want to put in the normal stream of garbage.
Right.
How do you suggest the residents get rid of those types of materials?
All right, those types of things, the county has what they call a STOP program. It's Stop Throwing Out Pollutants. And they're located over on Cantioch Road in Hicksville. And they have a phone number, which I'll give it to you now, is 997-8962. And you would call them, and they have, usually it's on a Saturday where they're open, and you would bring your toxic materials over there, and they would dispose of them.
Do they accept batteries?
They accept batteries, like you said, oil paints, pool chemicals, aerosols, stuff like that. The only thing that I know they don't take over there is propane tanks, which seem to be a problem in the village where we cannot accept them. And basically what you have to do with those is contact the place, just an example, like Island Park Propane. They would use propane tanks over there.
Okay, thank you. We're getting on to leaf season. It's mid-October, and that brings up the question of yard waste. Do you have a new schedule for the pickup of yard waste?
Right, yard waste is also falling into this new sanitation scheduling. That's going to be on every Wednesday, and when we say yard waste, it's not just confined to leaves. It's also your grass clippings, your prunings, any small branches that you have that are tied up. That's all considered yard waste, and that would be picked up on Wednesdays.
But back to leaves, are you talking about, are you planning on street pickups every Wednesday, or are you talking about bagged leaves?
No, this is just going to be the bag leaves every Wednesday. Street pickups won't begin, we're hoping to begin sometime, probably the first week in November, but you have to look for the postings on the pole when we're going to be around.
Okay, so we will be picking up bagged leaves every Wednesday
Right.
as soon as this new program goes into effect. Is
Right. That's correct.
True?
Yeah.
So that the residents, if they even if the signs aren't up, they can do their leaf raking on the weekends, bag the material, and put it out curbside the following Wednesday.
Right.
That's correct. Do you have any preference? I mean, we offer the residents the option of either bagging or raking out onto the street. Do you have any preference?
Basically, we don't want to force the people to bag them because there are a lot of senior citizens in the village, and it's hard for them to bag them and drag them out to the curb. So that's why we still offer the street pickups. But it would help us if you bag them.
Any safety concerns?
Well, that's another problem, is raking them out in the street. A lot of people, they get the urge and they rake them out regardless of whether their area is posted or not. And they have large piles in front of the house, and then a car pulls up with a hot catalytic converter, and then next thing you know, the car's in flames, which seems to happen every year in the village. There's at least 1 or 2 cars that are destroyed by parking on top of the leaves.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about why we want to recycle. It's my understanding that we pay, I believe you told me earlier, $85 a ton to get rid of our garbage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what does it cost us to get rid of the yard waste, the bagged leaves and the grass clippings, etc.?
Right, that we dispose of over at the old Oceanside landfill, which is just basically a transfer station now. But over there, it's $42 a ton to dispose of that stuff.
And what about the glass and the plastics and the newspapers and the metals? What does that cost us to get rid of?
That is no charge to dispose of.
Okay, so for each ton of materials that we pull out of the recycling stream, we pull out of the garbage stream and put them into the recycling stream, we're saving the village, the residents, $85 per ton.
That's right.
Okay, I wanted to the residents, I just wanted to bring you up to date on some information that I've read recently, and that has to do with the amount of garbage that the average person generates. In this country, the average resident generates 4 pounds of garbage per day per person. That's a lot of garbage. If you multiply that out and then if you multiply it out 365 days a year and then multiply the average household by 3.2 persons, you basically come up with that the average household generates about 2.25 tons of garbage per year. What this means is that garbage costs the village over about $200 that we pay. That's directly to the town of Hempstead. It doesn't count the salaries of the people who work for DPW. It doesn't take into account the costs of our equipment. That's just money that the village collects and sends down to the town of Hempstead for the cost for them taking our garbage. So it is truly important. We can cut down on that figure if we pull out those materials that are able to be recycled.
Oh, yeah.
And keep them separate, use the bins, do your newspapers, and take care of your leaves and your grass clippings, etc. Don't put them in with the regular garbage. Bag them and put them out separately on Wednesday. At this time, I want to thank you, Larry. Great job. I had a lot
Oh,
of fun.
thanks.
And thank you very much. Good night.